change. Let's talk to Tobias Ellwood, former Defence Select Committee Chair. He's at Tory Party Conference in Birmingham as well. Tobias, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
And now, I know we're going to talk about Israel in a moment. I just want to get your view on Robert Jenrick there, just talking about a £75,000 donation. I mean, it's normal for people to get donations for campaigns, I get that. But do you think it's now time, in the wake of all of this stuff, to change the system?
That's a good question. I think it is overshadowing the fact that you're opening up. Look what we've got going on in the Middle East. I'm here at party conference. We're trying to decide our new leader. But you're opening up with a question about membership gym prices. And that suggests that perhaps this does all need to be looked at. We do want to encourage good people to step into public life, you know, but the best and the brightest, they'll be put off if all the questions that come forward are about people's personal lives or their own individual circumstances. And that distracts us from the bigger stories that we really need to be focusing on.
No, I get that. The reason I ask politicians like yourself, former politicians as well, about it is because these are the concerns that the public have. And I mean, you've got to remember the Tory party lost the faith of the public. The Labour Party now appear to be doing exactly the same thing. And so when I ask those questions, I ask them on behalf of my listeners and my viewers who continually bombard me with questions about how can we trust our politicians if they're constantly on the take? Because that's what it looks like.
And I agree. The system that you work around, as I think you've just quoted Robert Jenrick saying he's followed the rules.
Yeah.
Clearly, we need to have robust rules which satisfy your viewers to make sure people are then assured that if any donations are made, it is transparent and the right levels as well. So we can make sure our politicians focus on the right issues.
Yeah. And you're at Tory Party Conference. Let's talk about that. I don't think you're giving away precisely who you're backing yet. But there is a sense at the moment that there is no opposition, you know, that there isn't really a leader of the Tory party. I mean, Rishi Sunak's still technically the leader, but he's not really making any inroads. I think he's good at Prime Minister's questions, and he's, funnily enough, more popular now than Keir Starmer was, and for the first time ever during a Tory party conference. But, I mean, can you realistically look at what's going on around you and say that you're going to somehow, you know, create a phoenix rising out of the ashes?
Big questions there, but the answer is we must do that. We are a great party, the Conservative Party. Whether in opposition or indeed in government, we have such an important role to play. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. My humble advice for the candidates would be put the nation first. Don't just say things that will schmooze party support, but ideas won't survive contact with reality. I would actually look at a younger age group and not try and, again, appeal just to the over 60s, which we tended to do, and stay professional. You touched on it just there. We lost the election because we looked disorganized. We were disunited, ill-disciplined. We had 5 tribes all pushing different agendas. So let's try and focus and understand where we sit in the political spectrum, who we're actually trying to appeal beyond our base. And if I may, I would also suggest that we look at the wider picture, which we may come on to in a second. The world's getting more dangerous, not less, and Britain needs to craft its role in the world. And the Conservatives in opposition can start pushing for that, making people realise just how dangerous a world we're entering. The storm clouds are gathering. Again, this is something the Conservatives usually do well, and I hope this is something that will get more attention at this conference. It got scant attention during the last general election.
I mean, it seems to me that some of the developments over the weekend have been quite remarkable. And I put out a tweet just the other night saying that it seems that now Israel has become the world's policeman. They're kind of doing the work that perhaps America and Britain and maybe even NATO used to do, because we're kind of a little bit too frightened to do it, it would seem. I don't know if that's fair, but, you know, it seems to me that Israel has decided, taken it upon themselves to take some decisions, to take some very firm action against Hezbollah, now against the Houthis, and they're basically doing it themselves.
So I would 100% agree with you and 100% disagree with you. I would agree with you because over the last decade, that's exactly what's happened. Iran has developed its proxy influences across the Middle East that have actually caused the instability, much of the instability that we've seen. But I'd 100% disagree with you, and it's interesting that General Petraeus commented on this in the Times yesterday, because the manner in which Netanyahu is using his superior military might. I don't know what he's trying to achieve by trying to take out Hezbollah in this way. Hezbollah is an Islamic militia. They sign up to be martyrs. They want to be killed. That's what they do. 10,000 fighters, the leader of which will quickly be replaced, ready to go to war with Israel. So the question is, what does all this fighting do? What does this bombing achieve? And now it's being expanded over into Yemen as well. Where does this take us in a longer-term solution for peace and stability in the Middle East? So you're right, it's an absence of the West not doing enough over the last couple of decades that's allowed Iran to advance its stranglehold, if you like, in empowering Hezbollah, Hamas and the Houthis. But now we see Netanyahu punch through to try and take out the enemy, an enemy, as I say, which can't be taken out in that true sense of the form. Hezbollah was created from the last time, not the last time, but 1982, when Israel went into Lebanon there. That's where Hezbollah, this militia, now the largest, most powerful non-state actor in the world, was formed. And it's this wider strategy that I'd like to see focus on and working with international allies. The fact that Netanyahu is doing all this without consideration, without talking to his closest security ally, the United States, is very worrying indeed.
Well, I don't know whether he's done that or whether he's done it without their say-so, but certainly there are people in Lebanon who are very happy. The
Americans have confirmed that.
Yeah, well, they might say that publicly.
The Americans have confirmed that.
Yeah, they might say that publicly, but I mean, the fact is that, you know, there are plenty of people in Lebanon who are very happy that Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, who was a very, very important figure, has been done away with, and he will not be replaced overnight. He can't be. There are people in Syria who are very happy because Hezbollah had honeycombed their way into Syria and were killing Christians there. So, I mean, I think Netanyahu is perfectly within his rights to take on, surely, an attack which has been launched ever since October the 8th on his country, which has led to the dissolution of 70 to 80,000 people who have had to leave their homes in northern Israel. So, I mean, he's taking out something which is dangerous for his own people, isn't he?
Again, I half agree with you. There is absolutely Israel's right to respond. They were attacked in this barbaric way, as you described, on the 7th of October. But the manner in which you use your force...
And by Hezbollah on the 8th of October.
Yeah, different standards, though. We cannot compare. There's apples and pears here. One is a terrorist group, the other is a state. And how they function... No,
Hezbollah is also a terrorist group. Surely terrorism is not any different in Lebanon. Hezbollah is a terrorist organisation. It's a proscribed terrorist organisation by Britain.
I just said that.
So is Hamas. Well, so is Hamas. So they're both terrorist organisations, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm saying that. And they are militias that fight in a very different, unorthodox way. So you simply, what General Petraeus was stressing is that what he did in Iraq was clear, hold and build. You go into an area, you clear it, you hold it, and then you rebuild it. What Israel, or what Netanyahu's done in Gaza, is to clear it, destroy it, and then evacuate it, allowing Hamas to refill that very same area. So we're seeing this again in Beirut, where buildings are being destroyed, including civilians as well. And those civilian deaths, who have nothing to do with Hezbollah, will then alienate much of the Arab community that are actually vital for long-term peace. That is the challenge that we face. So I'm saying I agree with Israel's right to defend itself, but I'm increasingly disagreeing with the utility of force. And I say this as a military person. Whenever the military might is used, it has to be for a purpose and a mission, a strategy of where it takes you. And I'm not clear where this is taking Israel. They're not in control of events, and events now will then spiral further because Iran will feel now obliged to respond. We're probably going to see the Houthis get involved as well. That'll close down the Red Sea. That'll have a knock-on impact on Britain's economy. Iran will close the Straits of Hormuz as well. So this war is spreading with economic consequences well beyond the Middle East.